Hey everyone, welcome back, hopefully, to another episode of the One of Us podcast. Guys, it's halfway through the year. What are we gonna do about this?
I don't need the reminder.
I'm
I
thriving.
thought last week was January.
What do you
That's how it
mean?
feels.
Can you guys hear that?
I heard it.
Guys, that's the freaking thunder. Okay, sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's raining over there too. It's been raining.
is.
It was
Sorry.
hailing today
Little-
in Las Vegas, Nevada, guys. Is the end of the world near? I need to
Esther
know.
literally ran over here and she's sitting beside me.
What a wimp.
Poor baby. She probably got scared.
Esther, say hi to the
Yeah, it
podcast.
was raining really hard. And I was like, this is weird.
Ew, Vic, don't kiss that dog.
She's scared. I'm comforting her. So Esther's going to join us for our podcast today. She has some stuff she'd like to say as well.
Even though Esther's supposed
Okay.
to be the emotional support animal for Vic, Vic is really the emotional support human for Esther. Exhibit A.
And yeah, this is the perfect example. But yeah, hey guys, we have a new episode today. Something a little interesting, something a little bit new. We're going to be talking about Christianity and AI, which you might be thinking, how are these two going to be connected? Why are we talking about it? Well, we're going to let Juan kick it off and we'll go from there. But yeah, Juan did a ton of research, so shout out to Juan for finding all the statistics, and hopefully you guys learned something new, and yeah, we're able to go share it with other people around the world or with our friends in our community. So Juan, take it away.
Wait. Before you start, Juan, I have to know, did you use AI to prepare for
You
this?
know, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say when Victoria transitioned, I was going to say, I may or may not have used some AI in the making
Okay,
of,
hold
of
on,
this
hold
video.
on. Then let me redo my introduction. So we're talking about Christianity and AI, and oddly enough, Juan used AI to do all the research. So kick it off, Juan. What did the AI have to say
EI.
about EI? What did
Are
the
you a
EI?
farmer?
EIO.
E-I-E-I-O.
Hey yo.
That's the
Hey, I am a
that's the
preschool
Missouri
teacher.
coming out of you.
No, that's a
The
preschool
Missouri.
teacher coming out.
I'm just kidding. Anyways, guys, as mentioned before, today we're talking about Christianity and AI. So, look, AI, it's all over the place. We use it at school. We use it to do some research, to build products, to advance our businesses. So, I know what the first question you're asking, if you're listening out there, is how in the world has AI already infiltrated the church? Well, today we're just going to kind of talk about, is it a taboo thing? Is it bad? Is it good? And some of the ways and examples some churches are using AI. So the first thing I'm going to say, just as a generalization, most people are using AI now to like kind of get research on the Bible and their sermons. Do you guys think that's a good source of building like a sermon or a Bible study nowadays?
You know, every time I talk about AI, I always think about it to utilize it as a tool, but not to do the work for you.
So how do you use that as a tool for your sermons but not make it do the work for you? Like, what does that look like practically? I guess in your opinion, in your world.
Well, what I would say is like, I think people had the same idea when it came to the internet, right? Like when Google first came out, people were kind of saying the same thing, like, oh my gosh, now the internet's going to think for everybody. But it never really did. I mean, I would argue nowadays, if you need to look something up, you just Google it. So I think now with AI, it gives you much more of a generalization. And then I think that that's a good starting point to then start doing a deeper dive either in scripture or whatever media that you're kind of trying to get your information from. But do you guys think like if AI did the whole sermon, would that be acceptable?
No.
No.
Okay, because I've actually read some papers recently that some churches, not in America yet, but some churches in Europe actually have some booths for people who like couldn't make it to church on Sunday. They can like just show up and then just hit play on a booth and it will play like a sermon type deal that's interactive.
Are you talking about like how it is on Black Mirror where you can like, click the episode and you can
No.
click which route you want to take? What do you mean?
No, so like at first when I read it, I thought it sounded just like a YouTube video. I'm like, this is what people do on YouTube. Like you want to see someone's sermon, you just like Google their page, watch the sermon on YouTube. But there's actually some implementation where like people will show up to a church, like I guess they'll show up because they missed church. Maybe they'll show up with a friend or two, and then they'll have kind of like, I don't know if you've seen this, but at the Sphere here in Las Vegas, they have those like robots that kind of are interactive. You ask it questions and it talks back to you. So it would be like you hit the booth button and then the sermon is playing and you kind of say amen and you kind of like are interacting with it and it interacts with you. Do you think that's a spiritual, like a way that you
No.
can spiritually connect with the Lord?
So I want to answer what Krystal was kind of questioning, like, how do you do it? Because I feel, the number one thing with AI is like prompting, right? And I think it's intentional on the way that you use it. So I think it's a combination of like using it as a tool and not to be lazy and do the work for you. So you could be like praying, you could pray to the Lord and be like, okay, well, what do you want me to talk about? And let's say he places like a topic in your heart. You can do your own research. And if you're like, I don't know if I found all the right verses, you could still look up verses that has to do with XYZ. I think there's a difference of doing something like that versus like, I'm doing a sermon on XYZ. Can you write a whole sermon for me? I feel like the direction of those two prompts are drastically different. One is like helping you kind of speed up the process a little bit, and the other one is
Like
just
making you
doing
do the work, right? You're telling it to
yeah,
do the
you're still
work.
doing the work because you're still picking and choosing, and you can still pray in the process of like, which one of these verses do you want me to use, versus being lazy and being like, all right, well, AI just wrote the sermon for me. I don't have to do any more work. I feel like it's a combination of a heart posture, but also the way that you're using it.
I would agree in the sense that utilizing it as a more in-depth Google, because we do the same thing for Google. We type, what is this, or how to do this, or give me more information on that, and we look up websites and articles and things like that on there. Obviously, if you're looking up articles on like Google Scholars, that's peer reviewed, but with AI it's just gathering all that Google information essentially and just giving it to you in just quicker snippets. That I feel like is normal because that's what we've been doing all this time with Google. But to flip that switch and no longer have any creativity or any thought process and just
Well, I think that's not
being
letting the
robotic about
spirit
it.
lead, because like, obviously none of us are pastors here, obviously, but I think that there's an element of kind of discerning with the Lord on where you want to take the message or how God is leading you in the church. And I think kind of to Crystal's point, it's like if you're kind of just letting something think for you, you're kind of taking the spiritual element out of the equation, which is the most important part because we're asking the Holy Spirit to lead the church, not ChatGPT.
Which is why I said like the intention and the heart posture matters. So I think you can use it. It just depends how.
Yeah, I think the good bottom line is like it should be a good starting point for research or like a good generalization, but never the final product. I think that's where it gets a little messy.
And ChatGPT is so flawed, so like I recommend if anyone is using it, still fact check everything because I've used it sometimes with like other things, and I'm like, this doesn't seem right, or it's not
Peer
fully
reviewed, like
listening.
Crystal said, peer reviewed.
I have noticed that too, so I'll be the first to confess I do sometimes use ChatGPT, but not
Betrayal.
for no, but listen, I use it really for summaries of books. So I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, and if I'm getting like lost in the audiobook, I'll be like, I
Summarize
need a
chapters 1 through
refresher
5.
summarize of chapter 1. Yeah, chapter 1 through 5, and
This
then
is the
I'll read
new
it.
version of Spark Notes.
It is. But then I'll read the summary and I'm like, this is not accurate to what has occurred in this book at all. This is like summarizing chapter 50
It's like
rather than
ChatGPT
chapter 1,
spoils.
and it just spoiled it for me.
That's funny.
Literally. And
You
I'm
have
like,
to
wow.
emphasize no spoilers because I was watching a K-drama and I was like, I'm confused about something, so I said, I'm on this episode. Do not spoil anything. I just need a clarifying question of XYZ. And it did not spoil anything.
No,
for
but
me.
I'm asking it to summarize chapter 1, and it's literally giving me the ending of the book, and I'm like,
You
Summarize
have-
chapter
this.
1 of Harry Potter's Philosopher's Stone. So Harry is actually Voldemort. And
It's funny. Well, the
kidding.
thing with AI is like prompting is the number one thing. So like some people are basic, just summarize chapter 1, but like the more detailed you are, the more you're going to get the result that you're looking for, which it's a skill, unfortunately.
But I think the point being in this conversation is that AI doesn't have a soul, spirit, or morality. And so when you're going to sources for that kind of information, like you need to run it by the Lord. Just like if some random person on the street tells you some information that is spiritual or biblical, that you have to still run it by your understanding of the Lord's character and
Test
the
the
Bible
spirits.
itself,
Test the
testing the
spirits.
spirits, being discerning. It works the same with AI.
All right, I have an idea. Should we ask ChatGPT right now what it thinks about pastors using AI to write the sermons?
No, I refuse. That's a bias source. Terminator is real, guys.
I'm actually
I
curious to know what
say
it
go
says.
for it, and let's see what it says.
What do you think about pastors using AI to write their entire sermons?
I think it depends on how they're using it. AI can be a helpful tool for brainstorming ideas or refining a message, but the core of a sermon usually comes from personal reflection, prayer, and a deep understanding of Scripture. If a pastor relies entirely on AI, it might lack the authenticity and personal connection that people look for in a sermon.
Okay,
we
why
first of
does your
all-
AI? Why does
Yeah.
Why was your AI born in Yorkshire, England?
I just like that one. I don't know. I like the British accents. for
Well,
some
you heard it here
reason.
first, folks. AI literally said what we just said, so AI confirmed as a good basis, not the ultimate.
I feel like now that AI has stated that, more people are going to be using it to write their sermons.
No,
Write a literally tell it write a sermon as to why pastors should not.
but have
be
you guys seen the
using
AI videos that they've been making where it's like Moses is going through the Red Sea and he's vlogging?
Yeah.
And he's
yeah,
like,
I've seen
hey
those.
guys, I just asked the Lord, take us through, and this is what he's doing. He just split the sea for us. And I'm like, what the heck?
Blasphemous,
Like,
I tell you, blasphemous.
Put that down, Moses.
Also, I want to make a distinction because I'm gullible to this stuff, like to AI
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
I've
remember when
fallen
you-
for it. Yeah.
Are you talking about the
Apparently,
story of the
Ed
video?
Sheeran is a Christian now.
So there was a video, and I didn't even watch it before I sent it to my friend's group chat. I just saw Ed Sheeran and just like a background, like he looked like he was in a church. That was like the thumbnail of the YouTube video. And it was a song supposedly about like Jesus and all this stuff, and that was the title of the song. And I literally was like, oh my gosh, like Ed Sheeran came out with a Jesus album, because sometimes artists will do that. And I sent to everyone. Everyone's like, are you serious? Like, this is AI created. And I was like, okay, well, I got excited. You can fall for some of this stuff as if it's real. And so that's my question, is like, there's so much lies basically that AI does, like misinformation, like how you can use it nefariously, like against other people. What are your guys' thoughts, I guess, on that part of it?
I feel like it's a matter of time until we get regulation. I just don't think it's been top of
Have you seen like
mind.
those deep fakes where like they get people to say things or look a certain way? Like I know I've been reading online that people are trying to put some degree of legislature on it. I think the difficulty is that what is hard is that it's everything so digital, and it's like a large language model, so it's hard to police all that. Like it's like, people are going to find ways to go around it.
It depends. Like even with ChatGPT, like I've had a lot of restrictions. Like I'll ask it to do things and it'll be like, this is against my content policies.
What are you asking it to do?
It's nothing crazy. Like one of them will be like, this is a mood board, like give me ideas or like generate images similar to this vibe. And it'll be like, I can't do that. Even with the doll trend that was popular a couple months ago, remember when I hopped on that? Like, although I got a lot of those images, I had to find ways around it, like Juan said, because sometimes it would work and then sometimes it wouldn't. So, because now it's like one of the content policies for ChatGPT is like you can't say make this person look like a doll as an example, because they say that they don't want to use someone's image in their likeness to represent something. Which I understand, because people can use that for evil. I was just trying to generate according to a trend, but I know now they're being stricter about like doing things that look similar with images.
I think we've always needed to be careful about what you read online and what you see. But I think now, especially when it comes to like these videos and images and voices that can be similar to other things, we do need to be aware of like what sources we're trusting, because a lot of people fall for the stuff like I did and they think something is real, and so just being aware, I guess, of what sources you're trusting, I think will be important moving forward.
I could be wrong, but I think actually this morning I saw on someone's story of this guy like freaking out because someone used his photos but used it with AI and pretended to do online dating. So like they pretended to be them using the AI, which was insane.
But I mean, people can go and, I mean, for years people have been doing that where they take someone else's photo and put it on a.
Like catfishing.
I
I think
know,
you're
but
saying.
like
Yeah.
now it's getting extreme
It's
because
like
you can
more
do the deep
realistic.
fakes.
Yeah.
It's more
Well,
realistic.
what I
It's
would
like I can
say.
get.
Well,
You
what?
can go on.
Yeah. What I would say is just like, if I learned anything from this last couple of minutes, is that in our Christian walk now more than ever, I think testing the spirit and like kind of what Krystal was saying, like fact checking and doing your own work now is more prevalent, right? I think back then when you got spoon fed some information, especially by certain sources about God and stuff, I think they were a little bit trustworthy. But now, since AI has kind of started booming, you almost feel like AI does a lot of the thinking for most people, and we have to like spiritually discern a lot of what people are saying or doing nowadays.
I was just going to say, in terms of, trusting knowledge and wisdom, I think it's important to just remember that AI can provide knowledge, but it can't provide wisdom. And ultimately, like, wisdom comes from the Lord, and just remembering that, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, how it says in Proverbs 1:7. I guess holding on to that tightly, because they can't equate, right? Even if it's giving you good information, it's not the best information.
Yeah, and I kind of want to move on from the I guess more usage of AI, the knowledge, kind of the if it's reputable, to more so of like the interpersonal relationship that some people are kind of connecting with AI. There's some churches that are starting to replace maybe their greeters with like AI greeters. And there's even some churches not in the US but abroad that are starting to kind of buy those like Tesla Optimus robots to actually do the greeting for their church. So it's kind of that level of, I guess, integration. I'm starting to see people kind of replace that interpersonal relationship with something more synthetic. So do you guys think that people can actually have a bond with these things?
Absolutely not. I think honestly, we're putting our church and our people more at risk for depression, anxiety, loneliness, anger, because how are you going to how are you going to connect to a robot? When you go to a robot and you're like, I'm feeling this, they're going to come and counsel you, but sometimes you need a friend, a community. The robots, it's just, I think it's ridiculous. There are so many things going on. And actually, Chris, I'm going to take what you said to me the other day, where you guys are reading this book called The Anxious Generation. And I think you said that in 2010, anxiety and depression rose up by like 300%. And guess what? In 2010 is when all this whole wave of technology started coming in. People started getting iPhones, social media started coming about, all these different things. And I don't understand why we think that making bigger, better, more advanced technology is going to fix that. Obviously, it's doing more harm than it is good. And then to even invite it into our churches, I think, not to kind of hate on those churches, but I think it's a little bit lazy, and I think they're just trying to keep up with the time. They're trying to keep up with the world. We're in the world, but we're not meant to be of the world. So we're not supposed to love
Truth.
the things of this world. And at the end of the day, like, what's the point? The AI robots aren't coming with us. Find someone that when you get to heaven, you're going to recognize them and say, hey, we did life together down on earth. When you were struggling, we were there together. Now we can celebrate that we've made it. And yeah, I just think it's not good. It's not healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, in any way, shape, or form.
It's funny because I was about to mention the same book, because on the way here I was listening to the audiobook of The Anxious Generation, and it was a portion. Actually, it's so funny how this always happens when you read books written by atheists, but they're promoting you should go to church, so like you should be a part of a faith community because it's actually better for all facets of yourself holistically. Like, it shows less anxiety, less depression, the relationship building, what it does chemically to your brain, being a part of like a system where, I go to church every Sunday. I know what that looks like. You have that group bonding where it's like even in worship together, how that does something to your brain where it makes you feel like you're one with the people around you and having just that common sense. Obviously, we know it's so much more than that. But the reason why I bring this up is because now I was looking earlier as well, there's a such thing as AI companionship. Like people will like almost like they're dating like AI therapy, where like now there you can have a therapist that's an AI, or obviously like we've been talking pastoral care, and that's concerning for many reasons, but one of them being just like there's no risk involved anymore. Like you can hop on this AI therapist that isn't real, have these conversations and move on, and like, or have this like companion or like dating partner that isn't real, and you're not like, there's no risk, like there's no you getting out of your comfort zone, going out, and it's doing just so much damage to just young people and people in general, to like our development and just this generation's like ability to go through hard things and have conversation. That's why I think there's so much divisiveness in the world, is because we've removed the opportunity to have conversations with different people. So yeah, that was of concern to me. I'm like, AI companion and therapist, like, one, this is bad for like the job market, this is bad for people's development, I think this is just bad for the world as a whole.
Yeah, so Krystal, so I actually did some of my research and some numbers on ifstudies.org. They kind of just ran some studies on like what young generations thought of AI, since, we're the generation of technology and everything. So in this particular study, they found that 25% of young adults believe that AI partners, like friendships or real life romantic relationships, could potentially be replaced in the future by these AI chatbots or possibly AI robots or something. And what's even more shocking is that 80% of Gen Z respondents, which is kind of like close to our age range, say that they've already experienced a meaningful bond with an AI chatbot or an AI device already. And 7% of that whole group, right, of these young adults said they're already having an open AI partnership, basically, with a robot. So I think, like, sometimes I think that the church always is late in some of these debates, but I think genuinely in the future, the debate about life, more so than it is, right? I know like there's a debate about life in the womb, but I think like later in life, it'll probably be more a debate on like what really is a definite of life. I mean, you're saying 7% of young adults already have an open AI romantic partnership. Like you listen to that and you think that's kind of the dumbest thing you ever heard. But I think that's some of the saddest things I've ever heard of. It's like someone literally out there is in love with a machine that has no soul and is kind of programmed to do nothing but waste your time and take your money.
I was gonna say, most of those statistics, I didn't have the numbers, so I'm glad that you did, Juan, because I've seen them like scrolling. My thing is, I think that this conversation it's difficult because in the Christian lens, I think we have our own opinions, but at the same time, like in a worldly standpoint, people are gonna do whatever they want to do. And I do think that the way that a lot of people do view like the AI situation is probably similar to what a lot of people thought back then with just like phones and like other high-tech devices. It sucks. And I think that there's a deep-rooted issue as to why people are doing that.
I feel if we grab enough people to judge those people,
Well, I think it could be a
maybe we can
detriment
take
to
them out.
society. I mean, we already see we already see the day-to-day implications of people being on their phones so much and using social media. Just imagine where like now people low key or high key spend now majority of their personal life with technology. I mean, it kind of reminds me of this really old show, The Twilight Zone, an episode where, there's zany episodes, right? So this guy got sent to jail in Mars, and like the government at the time thought it was cruel, so they sent him like a companion, but it's a robot, it's like a female. But the female, she looks like exactly like a female. Her skin feels like skin, she talks like a female, she exhibits emotions. But when I was watching that episode, I'm like, that's such an illusion of what life really is. Like I think Christians need to have more of this conversation of like the spiritual world, because obviously our battle's not of flesh and blood, is of the spirit. And I think that in our life we need to be more attuned and walk by the spirit to kind of reveal to people that that way of thinking or life, having an AI partnership to replace any friendship or relationship is actually something, honestly, I think devised by the devil to further alienate people from each other.
I just think as a church, we need to understand, why do these young people feel the need to find community and fellowship with something that literally has to be plugged in the wall? And if it's not plugged in, like, what do they do when it dies, or the
Well, do you
power goes
think
out, or
about
just
repercussion? Because Krystal kind of talked about it in terms of therapy. Like, you go to a therapist and, they're a person, right? So in your mind, you have this like, okay, they're a person, I have to respect them, even if I don't like what they're saying and what they're doing. In a robotic sense, it's like, okay, this robot, I don't like what it's saying, I can just destroy it. So I feel like it's kind of trying to like battle this urge of like, hey, just because you have power over something doesn't make you like a god.
feel like we're allowing our children and like the next generation to be so dependent on devices. Like, even when I subbed in high school, they don't use paper and pencil like they used to. Everyone does their work on a laptop. Everyone has a Chromebook. That's how they get their work done. And when they do have
They're
to
like 2 years
write,
old.
but even in the middle school and the high school, everyone has a Chromebook. It's like, hey, do your assignment, watch this video. And no one knows how to hold a pencil anymore. We've become so dependent on technology to kind of sustain us. And that's what we're teaching our kids. When you don't know an answer, Google it. Go on AI. When you need companionship, it's just, we've taught them to be so dependent on technology rather than going to community saying like, hey, like, have you talked to a friend about this? Like, have you talked to a counselor? Like, it's just, I think it's so sad.
I think too, it's laziness and selfishness because, like Juan says, you and like what Tati was saying earlier, it works based on prompts. So if you tell this AI companion, I need you to be like this, don't be like this anymore. Like, I need you to tell me this and talk to me like that. Like, you're creating your own little fake person to meet all of your needs, and you don't have to meet any of it. So it's very self-centered, and it's just very lazy because it's not representative of true relationship where there's a back and forth. There is that true companionship, that true dialogue, that true growing. There's no way to grow and learn from, in the sense, this AI companion, mentor, girlfriend, boyfriend, because you're the one controlling it. Like, it does not have a mind of its own. And so there's no way to be sharpened and grow. So yes, I think it's very concerning. Yes, I think it's an important topic that we need to even have in the church and as Christians. But I do think we need to be wary of being fearful of it. Like, I don't think the Lord calls us to be fearful, even in this situation. Like, yes, be aware, be discerning, like, have eyes that can see and ears that can hear the truth. And what more motivation than to grow closer with the Lord and to read your Bible more, than to have, his perspective and his lens as we see this world that is turning in a different direction. But I just want to caution people to not be afraid, or as Juan used to say, like a worry-wart, but be a warrior just in prayer and in your discernment in this.
No, I like it. I think everyone always has a fear of like people saying no, or the idea that someone can hurt you. But I think that in this life, the experiences that you garnish will always point you to your friend group, to the people you're meant to be with. So I think it's just kind of also just kind of what Crystal's been saying, not being selfish and kind of living with your hand wide open and knowing that God has already ordained your steps.
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard the two things that have happened with like AI fighting back. So ChatGPT tried to shut down, I think it was like '03, and it refused. And then they did a test. I think this one was Gemini, I don't remember, or one of the other AIs that are out there. And they basically pretended like the one of the developers fabricated a whole life. And when I think he said he was also going to shut it down or something, the AI threatened to basically expose
Terminator. I'm telling you guys. Terminator's going to happen.
To expose the information that the AI had learned about him and send it in an email to like his wife. It was all fabricated.
I don't know any of those stories, but I did see that video like in China where they had a robot and they programmed it, no joke, to like shake your hand or something, and then all of a sudden the robot just like went ballistic and started like punching and like wailing, and then they had to like destroy the robot in the shop because it was too strong.
You know what's crazy to me is how is it that all these movies are coming to life? Like all these shows and
No.
stuff where you're like, oh, that's funny.
Guys,
Hee hee.
this
That's
is
This
like
is
the
why
Lord-
I do not like watching Black Mirror, because those episodes are too realistic, and it freaks me out.
or the Twilight Zone. That's the better rated version. Okay, Vic.
I haven't seen Twilight Zone. I wouldn't know.
Okay, but what I'm gonna say is this is why the Lord had to flood the earth, genuinely for these reasons.
Okay, I'll be honest. I saw a meme today where it was some girl said something and it was super dumb, and Noah looked at God and was like, "Hey, you sure you want to keep that promise?" And I was like, honestly, if someone said, "Hey, I heard a message that the Lord was going to flood the earth. Get on my boat." I'd honestly get on the boat. I'd be like, I know the Bible said he would never do it again, but you know what? I'm going to trust him. We're getting on the boat.
Okay.
Sometimes it's crazy.
I
out
wanted
here.
to fact check myself. It was Claude Opus 4.
That's like
It
a different
attempt-
language.
Well, it's still
Claude
an
Opus
AI,
4,
but it said
and then Opus 4 Claude 5.
It said it attempted to blackmail the engineer by threatening to reveal the affair if the replacement goes through.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused.
Well,
Maybe I'm being older than what I need to be, but AI was created by this guy. So how does this freaking AI know to how? Explain.
Look, all I'm saying is I just ChatGPT'd asked it if it would ever turn into Terminator, and he said no, I have no weapons or free will. So I don't know if I should believe that yet.
So if he had weapons
And free will, exactly. See, can't trust these guys. Or them. Or I don't know what to even call
he's
robots.
shy of two
It
things.
can't trust
two
it.
things.
I can't
And
trust
here's the
it.
thing. Here's the thing. AI would probably knows how to make a weapon. It's got it in its system.
Wait, did you guys ever
Not
see that movie a long time ago? It's called Her, and it was that guy who fell in love with his Siri or something.
No,
No,
I
and that's
heard.
Okay, that
freaking
movie was
weird
so
movie.
bad, but I've seen this is something else that we were going to talk about, but I guess we're running low on time. But I was going to talk about how that movie, like when it came out in like the early 2000s, was so poorly rated, no one liked it. But now it's one of the more resurging movies of today because people are so curious about people dating like a robot and stuff like that.
People just there's so many lonely people out there. Go find another lonely person and then don't be lonely together.
One less lonely girl.
One less lonely.
So
Make that your wedding. They could make that their wedding song. It would work out so well.
So I think it's interesting. So we put a poll up, a few polls on our Instagram earlier today about AI. And so I think some of it is kind of interesting. And if you're not following us on Instagram, we'll have that in the description. You should go follow us so you can be a part of these polls in the future. But one of the ones that we asked was, would you ever ask AI for spiritual advice? Now, this was kind of like half and half. Half the people said, no way, that's weird. The other half said, I have not, but I'm not opposed. So I thought that was interesting. Most people thought that when asked, is AI morally neutral or dangerous? Most thought that it was neutral, depends on how it's being used, which would concur with what we've discussed. And then what reminded me of it is when we were talking about curiosity. Does AI make you curious about God or more confused? People weren't confused, they were more curious. And then when I asked people if they would ever pursue AI companionship therapy or pastoral care, it was kind of split. So 33% of people said yes, they would use it supplementally. And then the other 67% said no, AI cannot replace human relationships. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Just from our audience, I'm sure people listening, you might have different opinions than what the majority said, but what was encouraging is like that AI doesn't make people confused, spiritually, biblically, or in terms of the Lord, because these AI devices can seem very realistic and can be like confusing of like, oh, like, is this a life? Like, you know, who knows in the future what it's gonna be like in terms of like their rights, yada yada. Because I've seen movies like that. So I don't know if they're ever gonna be considered more than what they are, but I just thought that was interesting.
If that ever happens, I'm fleeing the country.
You gotta flee the world, girl. We gotta go live on a boat.
I'm gonna go.
You're have to
I'm gonna
live
go
in one
find
of
an
those
island.
third world countries.
Hook me up.
Hey, if we
The
banned
countries have zero access
if we-
to technology.
if we banned all of our money together, we may be able to buy a small island. But without further ado, it is time. The time has come, people. Everyone listening, say it with me. Hot take time with Tati.
I low-key forgot. I'm trying to remember. All right, I have one. When you guys cook, because my friend and I were talking about this, do you take your time or are you like rushed?
I eat for survival.
I'm definitely rushed. I don't take my time when I cook.
So like when you're chopping, you just like, or you're like,
No, I'm not that good of a cook to be chopping it fine.
I take my
Really?
time. Why am I rushing? For who and for why?
Russian.
I like to take my time because I feel like I make it with love.
Yeah, watch out, AI.
Yeah, I was listening. No, but I was gonna say I eat in like 5 minutes, so you can imagine how fast I cook, if I do cook. Which one I know is gonna say
Juan,
something
is that
about
true?
that. But
It's debatable.
I eat super fast.
Okay, here's the real hot take between Juan and Chris. Who's the better cook?
Juan. That's not a hot take.
Juan.
Juan's face. He was like, dang. Okay.
Krystal's a good cook. I just think that I've had more opportunities to cook.
All right.
That's
Actually,
a
this is
good
the real
answer.
hot
Anytime
take between
Krystal-
Vic and Chris. Who's the better cook?
Dang, that's pretty close.
I think we're both the same. Vic has had more opportunities to cook because now she needs to for survival. She lives on her own.
Yeah,
the thing
I
is that
can't-
Krystal is Hispanic.
I will actually say
but-
my cooking skills have improved. I made some parsnip and what are those orange things called? Sweet
Oranges?
potato fries. Okay.
Vic, I've heard you say
Orange
parsnip
things.
like 10 times in the last
Dude,
week.
I'm telling you right now, I'm vouching for parsnip. I ate it one time and it's like the
Parsnip?
best thing out there. I'm gonna vouch for it. It's
Look,
delicious.
this is what's hard, Tati. Victoria is a white girl.
I made a good
so
beef.
she
I
cooks
made-
like a
hey.
white girl.
Hey, I made some good beef stew the other day. Crystal ate it. I made
Tati,
us a
Vic,
nice
are you
Mediterranean
saying
salad.
beef stew is not white?
When Juan says white, it's like unseasoned chicken.
I love-
no, all my
I
stuff is
love
seasoned.
I love
Now,
how you're
the
getting
difficulty-
super defensive.
Now let me tell you the difficulty.
Because
Juan
my-
saying
look-
that you're
So-
white because you are white.
No, 6 months ago, I could be like, yeah, spot on. But now, look, my cooking skills.
Let me
are-
just explain the
are
difficulty
rising.
before you interrupted, Vic. Okay, Crystal's
No,
Hispanic,
you
but she
don't
also
know. You've never
Krystal
eaten
also
my
cooks
food.
like a white girl.
No, I have the
You
diet
know-
of a white girl. I can't have any like
I have an idea. One day when I go to Vegas, we need to do a cook-off where Juan and I are the judges.
I'm down. Like
I
do
think it
like
would be-
what is that like
that'd be
chopped
funny.
chopped episode?
But you guys have
food
to come up with
competition.
the recipe or like
You have
what
to
you want us
do
to
a
make, and we have
full
to make the same
5-course
thing.
meal. You have to do a 5-course meal: an appetizer,
Absolutely
Oh.
an
not.
entree, a dessert, and a salad, and a
Vic,
drink.
that would be so funny. It would be so entertaining.
No, you're getting an entree and an appetizer, and that's it.
Victoria's
No,
en-
an
Victoria's
and a
entree
dessert,
is
Vic.
no. Victoria's entree is a
Could be
Lunchable
frozen
or a
box food.
Lunchly, and then for dessert is one of those sugar cookies you buy at Walmart.
Hey, I don't get that anymore.
Or a cheesecake. It's gonna be a cheesecake.
Hey,
And
my
it's gonna be
cooking skills
pasta
have
for
improved.
entree.
So
And it's gonna
what
be
is your
chocolate milk
entree?
for the drink.
Hey, I will say I made some pasta with homemade sauce the other day. I made my own
Vic,
sauce. It
I've
was
made
not
homemade
in a jar.
pasta.
Can I tell you
I've
guys
made
something?
Okay, that was
actual
good. That's
pasta
good. That's
homemade.
good.
Tati, do you pay your rent? No, I do. I can't afford to make
so
my own
cheap.
pasta. I'm
Tati,
getting the
so
stuff
wait,
from the
it's
dollar
literally-
section, okay?
Wait, I have to
It
say
is so
something.
cheap.
Vic, I actually was very appreciative of this.
This is the
Vic, listen.
this is
I
the
was
most heated
appreciative.
hot take in a while.
I was appreciative of this that you did for me and my sister, but it was also kind of funny because you were like, "Hey, do you guys want a salad?" And we were like, "Yeah." and then it was just tomatoes and
It's a
cucumber.
Mediterranean salad. Also, that's all I had in my freaking
Caprese. It was
fridge.
a
I
caprese
gave
salad.
you guys my
Caprese
food
salad.
for the
It was
week.
good. That's why I said it was actually good, but it is not a salad, Vic.
It is. It's a Mediterranean salad.
I thought that's called
What
a
was on
caprese
it?
salad.
No,
Isn't it just the cheese and tomato?
No, no,
It was
no,
no
no.
cheese.
You guys aren't listening. No, a
cucumber and tomato
Mediterranean
is a Mediterranean salad.
Yeah, thank you, Tati.
I make it all the time.
It's good and it's
Yeah.
healthy.
Vic, what is in your fridge right now? Go show us. Go show you the pod.
I actually went
No, no,
shopping,
no.
but I don't have a
Oh,
whole
did
lot.
you?
I just got water bottles today.
All right, Vic. I appreciate your hard effort.
The
Victoria,
microplastics.
That's the end of the end of the
Victoria
segment.
has been growing and cooking.
And
I'll
I
give her
got
that. She's
chocolate
growing.
milk because Eric came and chugged my last bit yesterday.
You need to put a lock on your chocolate milk. Everyone's always being a chocolate milk thief.
No, I was so sad because I bought chocolate milk, but I was cooking over at Eric's, but I forgot to bring the chocolate milk back to my house. And the next morning I was like, hey, don't drink my chocolate milk. And then he sends me a video of him chugging it and he drank it all. I was like, dude, do you know how expensive that is? That's like $7.
Well, you should have made him buy you a new one.
He did.
Okay, good.
All right, guys. Well, as fun as that episode was, and for the record, I'm an amazing learning to cook person. Okay, putting that out there.
English
but
is next.
unfortunately, hey, back off. This is my
This is
time.
the teachers of America.
This is my time to shine. Okay. Hey, this is what
Go
AI
ahead,
is
go
for.
Go
It's
ahead.
what
Go
we
ahead.
use AI for. Okay. No one teaches
You
anymore.
want me to use AI to close us out?
Unfortunately, AI can't cook as well.
We have reached the end of our episode, but don't worry. We're always going to have more for you, so don't fear. We will be back, but in the meantime, have an amazing, wonderful, safe week. Go out there, get in your community, go find someone to encourage and uplift. Do not make them feel alone, or don't be alone. Go find someone. But if you can't, then please put a comment down and below, and one of us will surely reach out to you and we can pray for you and hopefully push you in the right direction to find that community. But anyway, we love you guys. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.